Hello, good evening, and welcome to a new episode of Arguably the Reading Quest. I am Nishant. A big thank you to all of you to help my channel reach 5,000 subscribers. This would not have been possible without all of you. And by the time I'm recording this video, we have already, reached up to 6,500 subscribers. I am really, really grateful to all of you for your love and support, for the kind of, confidence you have shown in my uh, channel, the kind of confidence that you have shown in me, in my channel. It all started, I could still recall that day, somewhere around in the year 2021, when the peak COVID had just abated. And I thought of starting this video. And the very first video I recorded was one of my favorite books, The Brothers Karamazov. Uh, and then there was some slump. Then again, I was very irregular. I was not sure, whether I'll be reaching even 100 subscribers or not. Uh, but today, and I have reached 65,000 subscribers. So I'm really, really grateful. I'm really elated, and I'm really looking forward to your comment. It makes me very, gay and elated whenever I, see a well crafted and finally nuanced comments, engaging with the video. So, as promised, this will be a question answer session. I was not aware of this concept, so one of my audience suggested me to do the question answer video, and here I am taking, the questions from the post that I have posted on the day I achieved 5,000 subscribers. So, this question is posted by one of the audience. He or she is a frequent, commentator on my video. This book Birdie. You can see it my computer screen, so I'm also displaying the questions at my computer screen. Uh, mm, and the question reads, but does it have to be related to books? Well, it doesn't have to be related to books, but it shouldn't be personal either. I mean, it can be from book, from life, or from any social, political, cultural issues. But you didn't ask the question. I really wish you would have asked the question. Book Birdie. Then Anand 4244. You can see at my computer screen. Asks me about my academic journey, that please talk about your academic journey. Uh, so, Anand, you see, mm, I have lived and studied at various places at one point of time in Bihar, then Ranchi, then, you know, uh, Banaras, then Calcutta, and now I'm, living and working in Delhi. So my university journey started as a university graduate from Banaras Hindu University. And then I have done a master's degree from, conflict and social science department from, Banaras Hindu University itself. Uh, then I have a master's again from University of Calcutta. And then I was also involved with some student exchange program, some kind of, mm, uh, project work with Karlstad University of Sweden and Wellesley College Boston in one capacity or the other. And for the past 14 years, I have been, you know, uh, teaching English language for various, entrance exams. And I've been a rigorous reader. I enjoy reading. So it is always the teaching that is the extension of my reading and not the other way around, Anand. Uh, and the academic journey has been, sometimes very frustrating. And because the frustration, it was also epiphanic in many sense of the term. I also discovered, hitherto new aspects of, the human relationships, friendship, uh, various dimensions of personality, looking world from a very different perspective altogether. Uh, journeying from an introvert, mm, uh, conformist person to iconoclastic, soft-spoken, rebel, non-conformist person. So the journey was quite enriching, Anand, I must say. So I hope my answer suffices. Then Sunita Gopi, 6518, has asked, Sir, happy to have stumbled across your channel recently. Thank you so much, Sunita. I'm equally happy, that you have found my channel engaging. Watching your videos, although I don't read much on philosophy, your channel was an eye opener of sort. I am humbled, Sunita. Although my channel is not always about philosophy, I mean, it is about, books on social sciences as well. It is about poetry, it is about literature, it is about, enjoying reading in general and not about philosophy. I must say, uh, you know. And I myself feel, and I have always stated at various platforms, Sunita, that I will like to call myself more a reader of fiction than a reader of philosophy. I have just one question: how do you make time for reading, Sunita? It's very simple because I find meaning in reading. I believe reading has made me what I am today. So if I look back in time, 25 years ago, when I really stumbled upon engaging with reading as it should be, I believe the kind of Nishant I am now is because of the reading thing. So it's all about passion, Sunita. Whatever that you are passionate about, you find time for, right? So it's all about passion, I must say. And how do you remember what you read? It's not about remembering, Sunita, everything that I read. It's about, reading on a common background. So the more number of text you read on a common background, so whatever has to be retained will be retained. And it is there in your subconscious, unconscious mind always. And then you keep on reading, then you keep on encountering same ideas again and again in different words, in different formats, in different contexts. So the foundation grows, and that is how an idea or a thing or a concept you know gets wired into your system. Would you be able to take us on a tour of your library? I've been doing that in bits and pieces. I believe I'll be doing that as well. A thorough tour of my own library, definitely. Uh, mm. okay, Sunita, and happy that you have stumbled upon my channel. I'm equally happy to to have found you as an audience. Now, JB Pramod 445 has asked. JB Pramod. So JB Pramod has asked a hell lot of questions. Pramod, dear sir, I'm not sure, but I think for philosophers, their lives, their experience were the origin of their respective philosophies. Definitely, yes, Pramod. I think every philosopher is a child of his time. Of course, there are paradigmatic philosophers as well, but this change in paradigm, the paradigmatic shift also happens, because the time was ripe for the paradigmatic shift. And that is why Nietzsche would not have happened anywhere other than Germany, and Dostoevsky would not have happened anywhere other than, Russia. And Buddha would not have happened anywhere other than, uh, you know, India. You may call it a historian's fallacy, but the fact remains that, when we look back in time in retrospect, we believe that, yes, we are shaped by we are child of our times, however great an individual is. However, I also recall a line by Bertrand Russell in his introduction to the history of Western philosophy, Pramod, that a man shapes the history and philosophy of his time as much as the history and philosophy shapes the person. So there is a reciprocal causation between the two. A man is shaped by the history and the history is shaped by the man, right? And there is always a reciprocal causation. A leads to B and B again changes A. So is there any supreme all pervasive philosophy we can look up to? Uh, mm, Pramod, I believe, yes, there are philosophies, that we can look up to, of course. What Buddha has talked about, what Jesus has talked about, what Plato has talked about, what Upanishadic traditions have talked about, what Sufi saints have talked about. Uh, you know, there are, and they are called perennial philosophy, a term, given by in a book written by Aldous Huxley. Aldous Huxley was a man of, you know, colossal genius he was. And he wrote a book, Perennial Philosophy, wherein he has discussed all these, Orientalist and of course Occidental philosophy as well. But if we talk of Immanuel Kant, one of the greatest philosophers in the Western, philosophical canon immediately after Plato and Aristotle. So Immanuel Kant says that there are just three, questions that, has the three questions that have uh, engaged me always: the starry night above me, the moral laws within me, and the God. There are three things. So, of course, there are, all pervasive supreme philosophy we can look up to. For me, I believe it is all about, how to live your life by examining it and how to live it to its fullest potential. I also recall, Pramod, uh, a quote by Osho, and I read it in Hindi, that जो जीवन को सिर्फ जानने की कोशिश करते हैं ना, वो जीवन को जान पाते हैं और ना जीवन को जी पाते हैं। लेकिन जो सिर्फ जीवन को जीने की कोशिश करते हैं, वो जीवन को जान भी लेते हैं और जीवन को जी भी लेते हैं। So I believe it's all about the intensity of living, Pramod, that matters. And that is how you grow, right? Why pain, sorrow, detachment, failure, bad things live longer as compared to happiness or joy and good thing? Because the world is not designed for happiness, I assume. I take a Schopenhauerian position here. The world is increasingly designed for, you know, sorrow and detachment and failure. And this part of the world that we know, there is a great injustice, as Bertrand Russell says, and that the good suffer and the wicked prosper, and one hardly knows which one of these two is more annoying. But again, Schopenhauer also gives us a solution as well, that, this search for happiness is a false notion that has been inculcated into our mind since childhood. And we must grow out of that notion. We must overgrow that notion. And then Carl Jung says that all the fundamental and great problems of life are almost insolvable. They cannot be solved, they can only be outgrown. And then you have asked many different questions. Does way to higher self go through bad patches only? Yes, I believe yes. Experience, Pramod. And what's the difference between a complete fool and a mental? I'll skip this question because that again requires a hell lot of, another episode. If they discard the important, do you enjoy reading spiritual texts? Yes, I enjoy reading spiritual texts. I enjoy reading Upanishads. I have read Gita multiple times. I have Dhampad, I enjoy reading Osho a lot, right? I enjoy reading perennial philosophy. I enjoy reading, biblical texts. So, yes, I enjoy reading spiritual texts. Why not? Because spirituality, and I'm going to make a video on science versus spirituality. I'll try to bridge the divide somehow, Pramod. Because spirituality, if the ultimate concern of spirituality is who we are in this cosmic loneliness, is not the same concern shown by philosophy as well, pure philosophy. That man is troubled by cosmic loneliness, right? And that is what and where spirituality and philosophy both begins, right? So, Pramod, I hope that is enough for your question. Rest for all your question, we will talk it sometimes later. Babita Matthew has asked, hello Babita, I hope you're doing well. Does philosophy interest you right from the childhood? Babita, I believe that requires a colossal genius to, understand philosophy right from the childhood. So I'll not say philosophy interested me right from the childhood. However, to philosophize definitely interested me right from the childhood, by the mediums of stories, by the mediums of quotation, by the mediums of poetry, by the medium of film. So definitely yes. And I was introduced to Osho right from the very childhood when I was in sixth or seventh standard in my school. So I assume yes, you can say philosophy, but technical philosophy happened much later. It happened somewhere around some 20 years ago, around the year 2014 2005 or 2006, Babita. Then the illusionist has asked me of I'm really overwhelmed by your you know panegyric, sir, and he has asked me, I sincerely hope that your YouTube channel flourishes and grows into a community of millions. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. मुलाकात कब होगी सर? मुलाकात बहुत जल्दी होगी. We are going to meet definitely. Then Babita Matthew has again asked another question. Sir, are you a family man or a philosopher? And if a humble walks by the way, will you wave your hand and say goodbye? Yeah, I am always, fond of, uh, enjoying a chance encounter with a stranger. What's wrong in that? Are you a family man or a philosopher? I'm not a family man the way family man is understood in Indian context, but yes, I'm definitely a person who, you know, cares for my family and who loves being cared. I'll not say I'm a philosopher, Babita, in a sense. I'm more so a person who enjoys, stories, who lives in stories, who lives in dreams, who lives in the world of possibilities and wonders. Uh, Philosophy, I believe, is still, at the periphery. The core is story, fiction, and literature. Now, Nyaishi Gautam has asked if you were to choose only one book to read for the rest of your life, which one will be your choice and why? Nyaishi, I believe this question is a difficult one. To read just one book for the rest of your life, mm, I believe there are books that are capable of multiple readings, but reading just one book for the rest of your life is a kind of hyperbole. However, there are books that I enjoy reading multiple times, and there are books that I would like to read during the last stages of my life in the old age, if your question meant that, right? When one is at a deathbed and staring at death, and there is nothing left to wait for, right? So I'll definitely like to read the stories by Herman Hesse. I would definitely like to read some Dostoevsky. I would definitely like to read some perennial philosophy and some Sufi stories. Nyaishi. Uh, Schopenhauer, definitely, yes. I read Schopenhauer as, a wonderful philosopher and a wise man who has given some key to the wisdoms of life. Uh, then, uh, Mushbara Raza has asked me, I have two questions. Have you read any self-help book? If yes, what is the name? And Mushbara Raza has second question. What are your academic qualifications? Mushbara, I believe I have already talked about my academic journey. So, yes, I am a alumni of BHU and University of Calcutta, and in some ways I was also associated with Karlstad University of Sweden and Wellesley College, Boston. So I believe that is enough. Okay, what has your life to do with academic qualifications? I don't value it much. However, I have good exposure to the academic life and the university life with all its disappointment and with all its opportunities. Now your first question, Raza, that have you read any self-help book? If yes, what is the name? You may call it self-help book, but I'll call it, books related to the classics of philosophy and psychology. I have read self-help book like, two books that immediately come to my mind are The Conquest of Happiness by Bertrand Russell and The Art of Being by Eric Fromm. These two books. Now, Sanskar Pawar has asked, why is that a romance novel or some random smutty books are more famous and popular than the actual great books who are read by a decent number of people but aren't as famous as romance and smutty stuff? Sanskar, I believe you have taken a different meaning of romance novel as is written by, these third rated writers like Chetan Bhagat and Durjoy Datta and all such people. Okay, however, when we talk of romance novel, so romance novel has a different meaning altogether when, novels such as novels by D.H. Lawrence or novels by Hermann Hesse, right? So they are also romance novel. They are under the category of Bildungsroman and of, the genre of German romanticism. So that's a different stuff. I believe you are talking of romance novels as is, the third rated novels that are, because people are idiot, Sanskar, right? And even if 50 million people read a foolish thing, that still remains a foolish thing, Sanskar. So I assume yes, because it requires time to cultivate great tastes in music, in art, in literature, in philosophy, right? So of course books that are really great books are enjoyed by very select few, and you must cultivate it over a period of time. Every great thing in life has a cultivated taste, I assume. So I believe I have tackled all the questions. Once again, this time when I'm recording this, episode, we have already grown to a community of 6,500 subscribers. Thank you once again. My, heartfelt thank to all of you. Please keep watching. Please, keep commenting. Please posting, well crafted comments. I thoroughly enjoy that, and I try to reply all of you personally. If you have still not liked, shared, and subscribed my YouTube channel, Arguably the Reading Quest, please do that. Happy reading, guys.